Hi everyone, my name is Tazmin and I am delighted to be here with Lily Lyons today, speaking to her from the Student Music Network UK. How are you doing today, Lily?
Yeah, doing really well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very excited to dive into your music, your career. We're going to be talking about some exciting announcements you might have. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So starting at the beginning of your career, how did you know that you wanted to do music?
Um, I think, well, that's a really good question. I think I'd tried a lot of different stuff, but had always music since I was like tiny. I was singing, I was like 2, and I'd always done music, and my father lived really far away, so I was listening to music like 8 hours every weekend when I'd go and see him and stuff, and
Oh, how
just music
interesting.
thing that I always was really just listening to all the time, but I didn't get that involved in ever thinking that I could do it as a career. But then when I tried to do that, everything just worked, and everything else in my life didn't feel like it worked, whereas that just everything in the world was going like yeah, like keep going with that, meeting the right people, feeling like I found my crowd like quite easily with music. So that, yeah, I think that was just really encouraging. I was like, okay, I think this is the right thing to do, and it's kind of always been this, so that's great.
So the universe was giving you signs, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
totally.
that's a lovely like sentiment there. So you're talking about how you found your crowd and everything. Obviously, listening to your music over like the past week, you have a beautiful voice, and I definitely think your music is really original and raw, and I don't think I've heard a voice like yours before, actually. So when you're saying you found your crowd, obviously I would say like your USP is kind of your voice, but what do you think makes you stand out as an artist?
I think it's always been singing for me. Like
Yeah.
started with songwriting or with even like learning music. It was just always learning about singing, and
Hmm.
I had a particular kind of music that I listened to, but I always just adored really classic vocals, like anything Sinatra or like just listening to loads of Jeff Buckley growing up. I was just loved his voice so much, and
Yeah.
yeah, just and then finding people like Crystal Warren or Carleen Anderson, like just listening to these voices and just being like, oh my god, that's so beautiful. It just hit my ear in a really meaningful way. And yeah,
Hmm.
I think, and again, like it was one of those things of finding the right people. Like I found like some really amazing people to talk to about voice and studying voice and what it means to be a vocalist, and to do that in a really serious way. And that was just really meaningful to me. And it's
Hmm.
always about the voice for me.
Hmm. So that's really interesting. You listed some of your inspirations there, like Sinatra, Jeff Buckley, amazing artists. So obviously it's inspirations of yours. What other things inspire you and your songwriting? I'm more interested to hear about, how you get the stories behind the songs.
I think reading a lot. Like I'm very into
Oh,
like
interesting.
reading Carl Jung. I got very like into Virginia Woolf for a long time, kind of deriving a lot of yeah, I don't think anyone would get that from listening to my music though. It's not very like evident that that's where that's coming from. But yeah, I think just deriving things from like experience, but a lot of reading, a lot of listening, yeah, and then just kind of like trying to make sure that I'm engaging with the outside world and just seeing what my sonic response to that would be. But yeah, obviously a lot of sorry, what was the original question? I've lost myself now.
It was about your inspirations. So what is the inspiration underlying inspiration behind your songs?
I think people like Gregory Porter was a really, really big influence for me. I loved like his just the kind of message of kindness and goodness in his music, but his singing as well was like, in the genre isn't really necessarily my style, but I just became obsessed with him for a really long time, like listening to the stories and him as like a whole persona. Like he just seems like a really rich person in like his internal world, and that was really inspiring. And then Leanne La Havas was like a massive inspiration. Like I remember seeing her play it. Yeah. She's incredible.
Love her. You've seen her live?
Oh, so many times. I remember I met her on a train once, and I tried to take a photo with her, and I had to take the phone off me because I was shaking so much. I remember when I found her first album, one that was like the one that got put up for the Mercury Prize. I just could not stop listening to it, couldn't stop watching videos of her, trying to figure out how she played guitar. I think seeing a woman playing guitar in that way and writing in that way was so amazing. Vocal, her harmony, that was really inspirational. And then kind of finding artists like Adrienne Lenker, Nick Drake, so more of like sort of this folky, less like polished sound, like Leanne La Havas.
It's so good. Yeah. I think I first discovered her with Green and Gold.
Yeah.
And
She's amazing.
There's a live version on Spotify from like a concert she did in Paris, and it's just beautiful. Anyways, amazing. Very interesting take on your inspirations, because I feel like most of the time songwriters draw on their personal experiences or their friends' stories, family things. I don't know, but that's really interesting how you're using those external sources, even books.
Like the stories, I think like seeing all of that adjacent to my life and kind of finding different ways of expressing what's happening in my life. But yeah, they definitely all come from places that are to do with my life, and that as well.
Amazing. Right, now onto some very exciting news. I can't say it for you, but you can. By the time this interview goes out, the world will know that Lily Lyons maybe is releasing some new music. What can you tell us about that? Drum roll, please.
I've got an EP out November 11th, so that's super exciting. We're all, I think, just actually getting into the swing of actually releasing stuff after playing live, like just existing on the live scene for such a long time is such a privilege. It's really awesome. And yeah, we've got a full track coming out, and just super excited to be sharing it with the world.
And so could you tell us a little bit about the tracks on that, or is it hush hush?
No. I think things are like from the early stages of me starting songwriting, and a lot of them are about like discovering like my self-worth and kind of noticing that I needed to arrive more in situations that I was included in, like think about myself as someone that mattered in situations. And so there's some angry tracks, some patience sort of bass tracks, some the main title track, Like I Used To. I thought it was just a really good track to have as the main track on the EP, because I've come into autumn. Like autumn really feels like a time of letting go, and I think Like I Used to, time that I ever decided to step away from something and said like, no, that I'm making a choice and I'm gonna move away from I don't want to be here anymore, and that's enough. Like I'm moving away from this, and that felt like a really different part of my life. And it's a really special song to me.
That's really beautiful. Very, very excited for that to come out. And after the EP release next month, November 11th, just under a month to go.
Well, let me
sorry?
I hope I actually got that date right, but I think it is
November something. What else can we expect from you after this EP? What's talking the bigger picture? What's next for you? Is there going to be a headline tour accompanying this like mini album, or is it going to be some headline gigs in London?
I've got a really exciting show going on at the Vortex Jazz Club 29th, which I'm doing with Kevin Hayes, who is a musician that I just adore. He's you know, he's just an incredible pianist from the States. Predominantly existed on the jazz scene, but is now more into the songwriter scene, and we're doing a show together, like playing my songs and his songs, and that's something that I'm just so excited for. Kevin is far more ahead in his career than I am, so I'm very excited to be playing with him, and that's a complete honour. And actually getting on to recording the second record, so that's really incredible. And yeah, just loads of music, loads and loads of music.
Mm-hmm. And obviously collaboration is so important, like having Kevin, as you say. I'm gonna have to search him up after this because I want to hear his music. I'm curious. But in terms of the EP, how much collaboration was involved? You know, was it normally with the songwriting process, is it you starting out these songs on your own, or were there lots of sessions?
No. All of the songs I wrote on my own in my bedroom in Cornwall.
All of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the sound world was very, very not even like collaborative. It was very spearheaded by Matt Calver and Classical Mechanics, Marcus. They very much spearheaded like the kind of all the instrumentation around it, but all of those songs were born like me at my guitar singing and songwriting, like, and they kind of came as like, and I gigged them for ages, and they came as a parcel, like a, you know, just a lump of songs. And then the sound world was kind of not as collaborative. It was more like I heard Matt's album and we were all like, that's the world, put them in that world, that's so beautiful. And yeah, that's kind of how the process sort of worked. But they weren't I'm trying to think if there's no songs that were, I haven't done a bunch of writing with other people. I'm kind of just starting to step into that world more, and in a way that feels beautiful. And I think for a while I tried it out, but it just wasn't, I think I just got really flustered, like trying to get my thoughts in collaboration with someone, whereas now that's sort of becoming more available to me, which is cool.
I don't think people I think sometimes like listeners and fans don't realize how intimate songs are, and what you're writing about is it's like you know, it's like a reflection of your inner thoughts and emotions and feelings. And I think collaborating is incredible, as we've seen with so many artists, even featured on the Student Music Network. But you know, it takes a lot to open up to someone and then to write a song about it. But that's really exciting. And I'm sure that you'll be producing many amazing things once you step into that world too. But just to finish the interview now, I want to talk a little bit about goals, about what you see for future Lily. Like, what are the big dreams here?
I think just to keep working with, to be honest, I feel like I'm in the dream, like I'm loving it. Like, honestly, some of the musicians that I'm playing with are my favourite musicians in the world. So that's really great. Like Matt is an incredible musician, and that album, it's like if I could have worked with anyone, it would have been him. And he's an incredible guy. And playing with Kevin again, like he's just someone that I've been a fan of from afar for such a long time, and being able to work with him is awesome. And even just so many of the musicians that are surrounding me, I think it's almost like the future is just allowing the project to grow in a commercial sense without losing how nice and rewarding it is in this present place. And just being able to stay really music focused. I'm really grateful to the people in my team that have always really allowed me to indulge in that. Like they've always just I haven't had any of those horror stories of people pushing me in a way that makes me feel like a product or someone that needs to be. Yeah, and that's something I think it's kind of maintaining and just allow it to grow. And then obviously, you know, I'd love to play some like big stages and, you know, allow it to the momentum to build. But I feel like I'm very grateful for everything that's happening in this moment.
I love your love for the music and your career and where you are right now. It's really beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Yeah.
If you can let us know where we can find you on socials and where the EP will be released.
The EP will be on like all streaming platforms. I use Instagram kind of, but I use TikTok quite a lot. So
Okay,
you can
cool.
Lyons Music, at Lily Lyons Music. So that's LILYLYONS Music, and that's me on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Lily, and best of luck for your career. Best of luck with the EP and especially the headline show in London. Thank you.